Honourable Member for New Westminster Burnaby.
Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure for me to introduce in this House a petition signed by over 3,000 petitioners from the length and breadth of British Columbia. Adding to it will be several thousand other names today, Mr. Speaker. The petitioners, many of them are activists for the Elizabeth Fry Society, and what they're seeking to do is end the discrimination that currently exists in federal programs for children whose parents are either homeless or incarcerated. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the Canada Tax Benefit, Canada Child Benefit, and the Homelessness Partnering Initiative currently do not provide the same supports for children whose parents are incarcerated or homeless. And what these petitioners seek is that the federal government will end that discrimination and provide benefits to all children and special supports as well for children who are unusual living situations, either because their parents are homeless or incarcerated. Alors, Monsieur le Président, de la part de ces 3000 concitoyens, on demande effectivement au Parlement et au gouvernement de changer cette situation qui, d'une certaine façon, donne moins des bénéfices à tous ces enfants qui se trouvent dans une situation qui n'est pas usuelle, étant donné l'influence ou le fait que leurs parents se trouvent en prison. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur.
Member for Edmonton Strathcona.
Mr. Speaker, it's my pleasure to table a petition from 75 Canadians. Their petition is based on the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Specifically, the interests of the child be a primary consideration in all actions concerning children. And they therefore call on the government to take a series of actions, including recognizing the barriers in funding, including homelessness impacting children, provide Canadian children the benefits and special allowances to all children, including those whose parents are incarcerated or addicted, and to reduce interprovincial disparities which impact children and reduce their supports. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kootenay, Columbia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to stand today and present petition number 421, which complements some of the other petitions offered earlier by the Elizabeth Fry Society. The purpose of the petition is to make sure that no child gets left behind in Canada. It talks about homeless and housing. It talks about services provided by government, and it talks about financial support. So it's really important that these most vulnerable children are protected in a country as wealthy as Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Je vais déposer une pétition aujourd'hui pour le droit des enfants qui a été faite en collaboration avec la Société Elizabeth Fry. C'est pour reconnaître la situation dans laquelle, lorsqu'un autre membre de la famille, par exemple, prend soin des enfants pendant que le parent est incarcéré, vit en période d'itinérance, malheureusement, il n'a pas le droit aux allocations familiales. Donc, l'enfant se trouve privé de support. Il faut reconnaître ici le droit des enfants, l'importance de reconnaître que les situations familiales, quelquefois, sont différentes de la réalité d'autrefois et j'espère sincèrement que cette mesure sera implémentée.
Member for Vancouver East.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm joining my colleagues who've also tabled the petition through the amazing work of Elizabeth Fry. And this petition contains 1,000 signatures. And indeed, they're calling for the government to ensure that all children benefit from special protection measures and assistance. It notes that Canada is the signatory to the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Yet we have programs in place where children cannot access services and programs to which they need to ensure that they have the opportunity to succeed. And just because of circumstances that are out of their control, for example, homelessness impacting their parents, perhaps incarceration or other situations, as a result of that, those children are not accessing services that they deserve. So this petition calls for action, and I'm happy to table this petition calling on the government to make that change immediately. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.